In 1993, he became National Director of Priests for Life. He's also the president of the National Pro-Life Religious Council. He travels throughout the country to an average of 4 states every week, preaching and teaching against abortion. He produces programs regularly for religious and secular radio and television networks. He was asked by Mother Teresa to speak in India on the life issues, and he addressed the pro-life caucus of the United States House of Representatives. He has served as an official of the Pontifical Council for the Family at the Vatican, which coordinates the pro-life activities of the Catholic Church. He received the Proudly Pro-Life Award by the National Right to Life Committee. Norma McCorvey, the Jane Roe of the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade abortion decision, called Father Pavone the catalyst that brought me into the Catholic Church. Let us welcome Father Frank Pavone.
Brothers and sisters, we've come to Birmingham to take a ride. Tomorrow we ride in the nation's first pro-life freedom rides for the unborn, the first of many that will crisscross the nation. And why do we ride tomorrow? Tomorrow we ride because God once addressed a word to Moses. And he said to Moses, I know the suffering of my people. Their cries have reached my ears. And I'm not going to sit still. I'm going to move. And I'm going to move through you. Go to Pharaoh and tell him to set my people free, because they're my people, not his. They're not his to own. They're not his to oppress. They're not his to declare their value. They're my people. God called Moses. He calls us because he's heard the cries of his people who are being oppressed. He knows the pain of the unborn, and that's why tomorrow we ride. Tomorrow we, gathered from various parts of this nation, will ride in a bus and in a caravan that represent a movement. We will ride, we will move from this city to Atlanta because we are part of a movement which is moving to a particular destination. And that destination is clear: equal protection for our youngest brothers and sisters. Nothing less. Tomorrow we ride because we follow one who picked up that scroll from the prophet Isaiah and said, I have come to proclaim freedom for the captives. His name, Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the author of peace, he who is our justice. He said, I've come for freedom. I've come for life, and it is in him that we gather tonight, and it is in him and in his name and by his power that tomorrow we ride for freedom. Tomorrow we ride because we are citizens of the United States of America. We ride tomorrow because we are inspired by those who together with Martin Luther King and A.D. King and so many others also gathered one day and proclaimed on the National Mall in Washington that they had come to cash a check. Somehow, a check had come back marked insufficient funds. That somehow the vaults of freedom and justice and equality and promise and opportunity in America, somehow they were led to believe those vaults had run dry. And they said, no, we will not believe that. We have come here to insist that our conviction that those vaults are still full of freedom, full of opportunity, full of justice, equality, and life. We demand that this check be cashed now. And tonight, we are gathered in Birmingham, Alabama, and we will ride tomorrow because the vaults of America for life, for freedom, for justice are still full of opportunity, and they are full of opportunity for our unborn brothers and sisters, and we refuse to let that check read insufficient funds. We want it cashed for our unborn brothers and sisters now. Tomorrow, then, we will ride, because it is not possible to imagine that a movement of equality, of nonviolence, principles that have inspired many movements for human dignity. It is impossible to imagine that those principles somehow do not come into effect when we're living in a society where, as Dr. Martin Haskell described it, the skulls of our unborn brothers and sisters are being taken out in fragments rather than as a unified piece. That, as he and other abortionists have described, the hands and the arms and the legs are being torn off the bodies of our unborn brothers and sisters, that their heads are being crushed. It is impossible to believe that the principles of equality and justice and human dignity, for which so many others fought and were imprisoned and were beat and were killed, should not inspire us to rise up with the same determination today and rise for justice and nonviolence against the unborn. And that's why tomorrow we will ride. We will ride because we are a movement that reaches out to those who are oppressed. Not only those oppressed because their lives count for nothing before the law, not only those oppressed because their bodies are torn apart thousands of times a day in this country, including in this very city at a place where we will pray tomorrow morning, but also because their parents are oppressed. Tomorrow we will ride to proclaim liberty, to declare freedom for those who are oppressed by the despair of thinking they have no choice but to abort their child. Tomorrow we will ride because we have a message for them. We have a message for America. For no woman anywhere in this country should it ever enter her mind that she has no choice but to abort her child. And if she does think that way, we rise up and we ride tomorrow and we say to her, you come to us. We will help you.